Hi everyone, this is the Nordic Venture Show, your guide to the exciting world of Nordic startups and venture capital. In today's episode, we're exploring a startup called Shook.
All right, so today we're going to take a deep dive into Shook Digital. Remember that KFC ad you saw on TikTok? The one where they were using fried chicken to, explain cryptocurrency?
Yeah.
Yeah. Turns out that was Shook Digital's work. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, honestly.
Yeah.
You've given us a ton of stuff from their website, like case studies and articles about their platform. I'm a little intimidated, not going to lie.
It is a lot to unpack. But don't worry, that's what we're here for. What I find really interesting is the range of companies that they're working with. It's not just like big budget brands. They're helping startups too.
Okay, so it's not just about splashing cash. There's some real strategy.
Yeah.
So who are these clients?
Yeah.
Their cases section is wild. Tottenham Hotspur, KFC, Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
I mean, you were excited about this deep dive, and I'm starting to see why.
Well, just think about it. You have a Premier League football club, a fast food giant, and a global music superstar, all trusting Shook with their marketing. There's got to be something special about their approach.
Okay, yeah, you've got my attention. Let's dig into what Shook is actually doing for these clients. They keep mentioning creative optimization. But what does that even mean in the real world?
It's about making sure every piece of content, every ad, every TikTok video is working as hard as it can to achieve a specific goal. So for Tottenham, it might be boosting fan engagement. For KFC, it could be attracting new employees. And for Ed Sheeran, it's likely about selling out those stadium tours.
So it's not just about making something that looks cool, it's about making something that actually works.
Exactly. And what's fascinating is that Shook seems to have cracked the code for doing this across different platforms, different industries, and even budgets.
Okay, I'm sold on the why. They're getting results for these big names.
Yeah.
But how are they doing it? Let's start with their Insights Hub.
These articles are really giving me a glimpse into their whole marketing philosophy. They talk a lot about AI, but I'll admit, I get a little lost with the tech stuff sometimes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Can you break it down for me a little bit? Think of it this way. Shook is using AI to take the guesswork out of content creation. Instead of marketers spending hours trying to figure out what's going to go viral, their AI tools can analyze trends, suggest video concepts. They can even help write scripts that are optimized for engagement.
Wait, hold on. So the AI is actually coming up with ideas. I thought that was still like a human thing.
It's a partnership. From what I'm gathering, Shook's AI is like a super-powered assistant. It suggests concepts and identifies patterns that humans might miss. But it's still the creative team's job to take those insights and turn them into something truly engaging and unique.
Okay, that makes me feel a bit better about the robot takeover.
Yeah.
So how does this actually play out in practice? Can you give me a real-world example of how Shook is using AI to make their content better?
Imagine the AI analyzing thousands of TikToks to figure out what's making people stop scrolling right now. Then it suggests a video concept based on that trend. Maybe even generates a script outline. That's the kind of speed and insight we're talking about. It's like having a finger on the pulse of the internet 24/7.
Okay, I see how that could be a game changer, especially in the fast-paced world of social media. But I'm also a bit skeptical. Does relying on data and AI stifle creativity? Don't you need that human spark to make something truly memorable?
It's a valid concern, and I think it's something that Shook has carefully considered. From what I've read, their approach is all about finding the synergy between data and human creativity.
So it's not about replacing humans with robots. It's about giving humans robot superpowers.
Exactly. It's like giving artists the most advanced tools and letting them run wild.
All right, that paints a pretty exciting picture. But let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Shook has this creative optimization platform, and honestly, it sounds a bit intimidating. Can you break it down for me? What are the core components that make this thing tick?
Think of it like a central command center for all things creative. From what I've gathered, it has tools to manage all the content a brand is producing. And then it gets really interesting. There's AI built in to help with everything from planning video shoots to actually writing the scripts. And of course, there's the data analysis piece. The platform is constantly tracking what's working and what's not, so brands can constantly refine their approach.
Okay, so it's not just a place to store videos. It's like a whole content creation ecosystem powered by AI. But how does that translate into something tangible? How does this platform actually help a brand like KFC come up with that crazy cryptocurrency app?
Well, let's imagine KFC needs a new TikTok campaign. They could use Shook's platform to research trending topics related to their brand. Maybe there's a new meme about fried chicken, or people are talking about using crypto to buy fast food. The platform's AI might suggest a concept that combines those trends. Then the creative team takes that idea and runs with it.
So the AI is like the brainstorming partner, suggesting unexpected connections and sparking those aha moments?
Exactly. And remember, the platform is also tracking how every video performs. So if one variation of that crypto ad is getting more views and engagement, KFC can tweak the other versions based on that data. They're constantly learning and improving.
So it's about making data-driven decisions, not just relying on gut feeling.
Precisely. And that's what makes Shook's approach so powerful. They're combining the art of storytelling with the science of data analysis to create content that truly resonates with audiences.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this all fits together. Shook's platform is like the engine. Their AI tools are the fuel, and their creative team is the driver, steering the whole operation toward success.
That's a great analogy. And what's really interesting is that they've packaged this whole approach into something they call the creative flywheel. It's a concept that really gets to the heart of how they think about content creation.
Ooh, a new buzzword. I love a good buzzword. Lay it on me. What is this creative flywheel all about?
Imagine a wheel that's constantly spinning, generating momentum. That's what Shook wants to create with content. It's not just about making one great video. It's about building a system where every piece of content feeds back into the next, constantly improving and generating more engagement.
Okay, I'm intrigued, but I need a bit more of a concrete explanation. Can we unpack this flywheel a bit more? How does it actually work in practice?
It's a cycle of plan, produce, analyze, and iterate. You plan your content strategy, produce the videos, analyze the data on how they perform, and then you iterate, tweak, refine, improve based on what you learn. And the whole process starts over again, constantly building momentum.
So it's like a never-ending content machine, always learning and getting better. I kind of love it. But I'm also wondering, where does the human element fit in? Are we just slaves to the algorithm now?
That's where Shook's philosophy really shines. They see the creative flywheel as a tool to empower human creativity, not replace it. The data and AI provide insights. But it's still the human marketers who have to come up with the big ideas, the emotional connections, the things that make content truly resonate.
Okay, that makes me feel a lot better about the future of marketing. But honestly, I'm still a bit skeptical. Can we see some real-world examples of how this flywheel is actually working? Like, how is it helping a company like Ed Sheeran sell out stadiums?
That's a great question, and I think diving into some case studies will be really illuminating. It's one thing to talk about theory, but it's another to see it in action. Are you ready to explore some success stories?
Absolutely. Bring on the case studies. Let's see how this Shook magic actually works.
All right, let's jump into a case study that really showcases this creative flywheel in action. Have you heard of Estrid?
Estrid, yeah, it rings a bell.
They're a Swedish brand that sells razors and body care products directly to consumers, primarily online. They're all about inclusivity and challenging the traditional norms of the beauty industry.
Okay, yeah.
Which is super cool.
Okay, yeah, I'm starting to remember their ads. Very sleek, minimalist vibe.
Oh.
But what does a razor company have to do with this whole creative flywheel thing?
Well, like any brand trying to make a splash online, they were facing the challenge of sky-high customer acquisition costs. Every new customer they gained was costing them a fortune in advertising.
Ouch, yeah. I can see how that would be a problem. Especially for a company that's selling directly to consumers. Those margins can be tight. So what did Shook do? Did they just throw a bunch of money at influencers and hope for the best?
That's what's so clever about their approach. They went beyond the traditional influencer model. Instead of just paying for one-off posts, they used their platform and flywheel philosophy to create a long-term sustainable strategy.
Okay, I'm all ears. How did they pull that off?
First, they helped Estrid identify the right influencers. Not just the ones with millions of followers, but the ones whose audience perfectly matched Estrid's target customer. They dug into the data, looking at demographics, engagement rates, even the overall vibe of the influencer's content.
So it's not just about reaching the most people. It's about reaching the right people. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Especially when you're trying to be cost effective.
Exactly. They then helped Estrid develop super clear briefs for each influencer, outlining the key messages, the visual style, and the overall goals of the campaign.
So they gave the influencers a framework to work within, but still left room for their own creativity.
Exactly. It's about striking that balance between brand consistency and authentic influencer content. And here's the flywheel part. They didn't just stop there. They tracked every piece of content, analyzing which videos were driving the most website traffic, which calls to action were leading to sales, the whole 9 yards.
So they're using data to figure out what's working and what's not. Then feeding those insights back into the next campaign, it's like a constant feedback loop of improvement.
You got it. And the results were pretty remarkable. Estrid saw a significant decrease in their customer acquisition cost, meaning they were spending less money to get each new customer.
Okay, that's a huge win. So the flywheel is not just a fancy buzzword. It's a system that's actually delivering tangible results. But I'm also wondering, doesn't this approach require a ton of data and analysis? That sounds pretty intense for a small team to manage.
That's where the Shook platform really shines. It automates a lot of the heavy lifting. So brands don't need to hire a whole data science team to get these insights. It's like having a marketing brain trust built right in.
Okay, that sounds pretty appealing, especially for a busy entrepreneur who's wearing multiple hats. But let's be honest, razor ads are one thing. Can Shook's approach work for something as complex as, say, selling tickets to a global concert tour?
Funny you should ask that. They actually worked with Ed Sheeran's marketing team on exactly that. Remember when his latest album dropped? It felt like those concert ads were everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Shook was behind that strategy.
No way. Okay, color me intrigued. Spill the tea. How did they approach a campaign of that scale?
Ed Sheeran's team wanted to reach a massive global audience and convince them to buy concert tickets. The challenge was, how do you create ads that resonate with fans in different countries who speak different languages and have different musical tastes?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Did they just make a million different versions of the same ad?
That's where modular production comes in.
Yeah.
They created a library of video elements, concert footage, behind-the-scenes clips, sound bites from interviews, fan testimonials, you name it. Think of it like a giant Ed Sheeran video puzzle.
Okay, I'm getting the Lego block analogy again. But how did they know which pieces to put together for each audience? That's where the data comes in. Shook worked with Ed Sheeran's team to analyze which types of content resonated with different demographics. Maybe younger fans in South America love seeing energetic performance clips, while older fans in Europe connect more with the behind-the-scenes glimpses into his creative process.
So they're using data to personalize the ads, making sure each audience sees the version that's most likely to make them hit that buy tickets button.
Exactly. And they didn't just set it and forget it. They were constantly tracking the performance of each ad variation, A/B testing different combinations, tweaking the messaging based on what was working best in each region.
So it's that flywheel in action again. Plan, produce, analyze, iterate. They're constantly learning and improving, even in the middle of a massive global campaign.
And the results were pretty phenomenal. The campaign generated millions of video views. And more importantly, it led to a significant increase in ticket sales. So yeah, it's safe to say Shook knows how to make the flywheel work, even for a superstar like Ed Sheeran.
Okay, I'm starting to see why they're attracting such big-name clients. But what about the rest of us? Can smaller businesses actually afford to use Shook's platform and all these fancy AI tools?
That's a great question. And it's something Shook seems very aware of. They offer different pricing tiers for their platform, so it's accessible to businesses of all sizes. They've even worked with startups who are just starting to build their brand on TikTok.
So it's not just a tool for the big guys.
Not at all. In fact, their platform can be even more valuable for smaller businesses who might not have a dedicated marketing team or a huge budget to throw around.
Okay, I'm seeing the appeal, but I'm also a bit intimidated. Do you need to be a tech whiz to use their platform?
From what I've seen, the platform is designed to be user-friendly. Even for people who aren't super tech-savvy, they've got tutorials, support materials, and a really intuitive interface.
So it's like they've taken all their expert knowledge
Yeah.
and distilled it into a platform that anyone can use. It's like having a mini Shook team at your fingertips.
That's a great way to put it. And I think that's what makes Shook's mission so compelling. They're not just trying to sell software. They're trying to empower businesses of all sizes to create better content and achieve their marketing goals.
Okay, I'm feeling a lot more optimistic about the future of marketing now. It's not just about being the loudest or having the biggest budget. It's about being smart, data-driven, and constantly iterating.
Exactly. And I think Shook's approach, this creative flywheel concept, is really capturing the essence of what it takes to succeed in today's dynamic digital landscape.
Okay, so we've seen how the flywheel works in theory and in practice, but I'm still curious. What does it actually look like inside the Shook platform? Like, can you give me a sneak peek into the tools and features that make this thing tick?
Well, why don't we shift gears and take a closer look at the platform itself? It's one thing to talk about it, but it's another to see it in action. Are you ready for a virtual tour?
Absolutely. Let's fire up that platform and see what kind of magic we can uncover. All right, we've talked a lot about the creative flywheel and the Shook platform, but seeing is believing. Are we ready to take a peek behind the curtain and see how this thing actually works?
Let's do it. It's like opening up the control panel of a spaceship, you know? Lots of buttons and flashing lights.
Okay, I'm a little nervous, but mostly excited. So what are we looking at here?
Well, the first thing you notice is how visually driven it is. It's not just a bunch of spreadsheets and data. There are mood boards, video previews, even a section where you can drag and drop different content elements to create mock-ups of videos.
So it's appealing to the creative side of my brain, not just the analytical side. I like it.
Yeah.
But where does the AI come into play? I'm ready to see those robot brains in action.
Okay, let's say you're working on a new TikTok campaign for, I don't know, a company that sells plant-based burgers. You could type in some keywords like veggie burger, vegan, healthy eating, and the platform's AI will start suggesting video concepts based on what's trending on TikTok right now.
Hold on. So it's like Google search, but for video ideas. That's pretty cool. But what if those AI-generated ideas are, like, totally lame?
Well, that's where the human element comes in. Remember, the AI is a collaborator, not the boss. You can take those suggestions as a starting point and then let your creative team run wild.
Okay, so it's like having a brainstorming buddy who's really good at researching trends, but doesn't necessarily have the best taste in music.
Exactly. And once you've got some solid concepts, you can start using the platform's production tools. There's a script writing assistant that can help you write dialogue that's optimized for engagement, a music library that suggests soundtracks based on your video's mood, even a tool that helps you find the perfect stock footage or create custom graphics.
It's like they've thought of everything. But what about the data analysis piece? How does the platform help you track whether your videos are actually working?
Well, once you've launched your campaign, the platform starts tracking all sorts of metrics: views, likes, comments, shares, website clicks, conversions, you name it. And it presents all that data in really easy to understand dashboards and reports.
So you can see at a glance what's resonating with your audience and what's falling flat.
Exactly. And that's where the iterate part of the flywheel comes in. If you see that one video is outperforming the others, you can use the platform's editing tools to tweak the other videos based on what you've learned.
So it's not just about launching a campaign and hoping for the best. It's about constantly analyzing, refining, and improving.
Exactly. And the platform even has AI-powered tools that can suggest specific changes you might want to make based on the data. It's like having a marketing coach who's always got your back.
Okay, I'm officially impressed. It's like they've gamified the whole content creation process. You're always trying to beat your high score, always striving to make each video better than the last.
That's a great way to think about it. And I think that's why Shook's approach is so effective. It turns content creation into a dynamic, data-driven game where you're constantly learning and improving.
Okay, so we've seen the platform, we've explored the flywheel, we've marveled at the AI. I think I'm finally starting to understand what makes Shook so special. But I'm curious, what's next for them? Where do they go from here?
That's a great question. They're already pushing the boundaries of what's possible with AI and video creation. But I think the next frontier is hyper-personalization. Imagine a world where your TikTok feed is filled with ads that feel like they were made just for you, based on your interests, your browsing history, even your mood.
Okay, that sounds both amazing and a bit creepy. Like, how much do they know about me?
Well, that's the ethical tightrope they'll have to walk. But the potential is there to create content that's so relevant and engaging that it feels less like advertising and more like, well, entertainment.
I can see how that would be a game changer.
Yeah.
But it also raises some big questions about data privacy and the potential for manipulation.
Absolutely. And I think that's something Shook is acutely aware of. They're committed to using these powerful technologies responsibly and ethically, putting user privacy at the forefront of their innovations.
Okay, that makes me feel a bit better. It sounds like they're not just chasing profits. They're genuinely trying to make the internet a better place.
And I think that's what makes them so compelling. They're a company that's not just innovating for the sake of it. They're using their creativity and technical prowess to make a positive impact on the world.
All right, I'm officially a Shook convert. This deep dive has been a wild ride, and I'm feeling inspired to step up my own content game.
Me too. It's a reminder that the future of marketing is all about embracing new technologies, staying ahead of the curve, and never stopping learning.
Well said. I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive. But I'm already feeling that flywheel spinning in my head.
Mine too. It's time to go forth and create.
Folks, that's a wrap on our exploration of Shook Digital. We hope you've enjoyed this journey into the world of AI-powered content creation and the power of the creative flywheel. If you're feeling inspired to learn more, head over to Shook's website and see what all the buzz is about. Until next time, keep exploring, keep creating, and keep those flywheels spinning.
Thanks for listening to the Nordic Venture Show. Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for more stories of innovation from the Nordics.